In the earlier video, we have seen how changes in demand or supply of money causes changes to the equilibrium interest rate. Interestingly, interest rates are impacted by factors other than demand and supply of money. Let's say there's a set of toys you want to gift to a child, and the price of that set of toys is, let us say, 100 currency units today. Now you have a choice. You could either buy the toys and gift it to the child now, or postpone the purchase of the toys and gift it to the child next year. The question is, under what circumstance would you buy the set of toys today and gift it to the child, or postpone it for 1 year? The emotional side of you obviously would say, buy the toys now and gift it to the child. The rational side of you would probably say, no, let me see if I can delay this by a year. And that decision to delay is actually driven very rationally, and may I say intuitively, by two very profound concepts in the world of economics and finance: interest rates and inflation. In the toy example, you have 100 currency in your hand today. If you gifted the toy to the child today, you're down 100 currency unit and the child gets the toys. On the other hand, if you decide to gift the toy to the child next year, you have the opportunity to put the money, say, in the bank, in which case you will get 108 currency units at the end of 1 year, 8% the interest being paid by the bank per annum. That means you are in the money by 8 currency units. Now the question is, by how much would the price of the toy have gone up in that same 1 year? Fair to assume that it would have gone up by the extent of the expected inflation in that country. Let's put some numbers to this. Let's say expected inflation in that country is 5%. What that means is a toy that cost 100 currency units now will sell for 105 currency units next year. And if you put your money in the bank for the same 1 year, your 100 currency units would have grown to 108. Now simple arithmetic tells you you can buy the toy a year from now, gift it to the child, and you would have 3 currency units left in your pocket, because the interest rate was 8% and the inflation rate was 5%. Now this illustrates actually a very symbiotic relationship between interest rates and inflation, which is exactly what Irving Fisher expounded in his Fisher equation several decades ago. What he said was nominal interest rates is equal to real interest rates plus expected inflation. The complete Fisher equation is 1 plus In is equal to 1 plus Ir into 1 plus Ei. Now if you expand that, it can be simplified as In is equal to Ir plus Ei. Now In represents nominal interest rates, which in our toy example is 8%. Ir represents real interest rate, which in our toy example is 3%. And Ei represents expected inflation, which in our toy example is 5%. Ir actually represents the real price of money, as we have learnt in the earlier video, mandated by the economics of demand and supply. Higher the demand, lower the supply, Ir would be higher, and vice versa. Since Ir cannot be negative, higher inflation tends to push up nominal interest rates. In no country in the world can the inflation rate be higher than the nominal rate. If you can conceive of such a situation, every individual in that country will become poorer by the year, because, for example, money kept in the bank would fetch you 8% at the end of 1 year, because nominal interest rate is 8%. But due to inflation, price of all items would have gone up. If, for example, the inflation rate is 11%, the price of all items would have gone up by 11%. Remember, your money has grown by 8%. 100 became 108. But what was costing you 100 last year is going to cost you 111 this year. In other words, your purchasing power has actually gone down because the inflation rates are higher than the nominal interest rate. In well-run economies, this will never be allowed to happen. The governments in those countries, therefore, are always under pressure to make sure inflation is kept as low as possible so that, as per the Fisher equation, interest rates will also remain as low as possible. And remember, low interest rates is always a trigger to create a good investment climate in any economy.